Hi everyone, and welcome to Tom and Harry SMMA. Now, this video is about the three terrible mistakes people are making when they are closing. Okay, so you've got the meeting, you've done all the bits and bobs that you're meant to do. You're now getting to the crunch where you are asking for the business. There are three mistakes that we see and hear and witness all the time. And in this video, we're going to cover them off one by one. So let's get into the video.
Let's go, mate.
What's the three terrible mistakes? Should I or you kick it off?
You go for the first one.
I would say the first major obvious one is people close too soon, okay, or they're coming on too strong. So it's basically what I'm trying to say is it's basically too salesy. Okay, so that's really common. That tends to come from nerves, I think, or it's like anything, when people even do public speaking or you're doing something that you're not very comfortable doing, you want to rush it and get it done, don't you?
Yeah.
I think sometimes when people get on the presentation, they get so excited that they will just want to ask for the business straight away, and it comes across strong, and the client's not ready for it, and it's way too soon. Basically, I'd say that's a big one.
I agree. I also think there's an element there of where people try and get the business too soon in the sense that they want to do it on that very first meeting as well.
Yeah.
So not just trying to rush the conversation in terms of not going through the correct stage in the meeting. And I've seen loads of people create videos on this on YouTube where they say you need to close them in the first meeting. You need to send them an invoice while you're still on the call with them. You need to send the contract while you're still on the call with them. And that's great if you're getting, you're talking to someone that is ready for that. Like we've done that in the past where you literally send the invoice straight after the first meeting.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, you need 2 or 3 meetings to get them to a stage of being super comfortable with their decision.
That's a really good point, actually, because I'd say we probably don't talk about that enough. But actually, I think there is a perception where you do the cold call, you do the DM, the email, whatever the outreach method is. Then you get the present. Then they agree to Tuesday at 3:00, let's say.
Yeah.
And then people get to Tuesday at 3:00. Actually, the amount of times we would close someone on that second appointment, we have done, and we've closed them on the first meeting, we've closed them on the second meeting. But probably law of averages, we normally always have a third meeting or even a fourth meeting to get that client to sign a 4 to 6 month contract with us.
Yeah, or even a third meeting and then a phone call as well. Like it's that, especially nowadays where people have been stung by agencies in the past, or they've, I don't know, going into a tougher time period where they're more cautious with where they put their money, or they're, more, I don't know what the word is. They plan further in advance what they do with their money in comparison to 2 years ago. I think people are starting to want more of those touch points. And we've experienced it, mate, especially since we've hired Darnusa, like more people on our sales team, and the more and more meetings we're having. It's very rare that they don't then say, right, can we get on another call to meet, another member of the team, or I don't know. Yeah, I think that's quite common.
And we've had clients recently, people who are about to be clients of ours, say that they've had meetings with previous marketing agencies and they've tried to close them on the call, the very first call, and they've not even had their video on Zoom. It's like, so they've been just an empty face, and that is showing like it's just not the right timing to close that customer. And that left a bad taste in her mouth, to be honest. But I say that's the first point. It's too strong too soon. The second point, the second massive mistake people make when closing,
I'd say they haven't given a good enough reason for them to work with them. So that kind of links into the first point, really, where if you're rushing that sale and you're not taking your time to go through the correct stages, you're not going to have given them enough reason for them to say yes. And I think that I was quite guilty with that at the beginning, and because I almost felt like I was talking too much. I was delivering this presentation, and I was like, oh shit, they've not spoken in a while. Like I'm kind of just talking at them here. Let me hurry up and just go through it. When in fact, you do have to have it. It needs to be more of a conversation, not just you talking at someone, which is why the discovery stage of the meeting is so important at the start, and kind of making it a conversation rather than just pitching directly at someone. But I think, not giving someone a good enough reason for them to work with you. And we don't mean ridiculous offers like we can bring you in $250,000 in revenue in the first 2 months. Like that's not the reason we mean. We mean just portraying your value in the correct way early on in the meeting and getting your value across. Is that everything you'd say?
Completely. Yeah, when you're in your presentation, you should be doing something called a DHV, which is demonstrating higher value all the time. You want to be demonstrating your value to the client. Why are you important to them? Why do they need you? And how's it going to benefit them? And I think there's not a big mistake people make is they try to close when they haven't really given good, solid, structural points of value. It's all kind of a bit wishy-washy, a bit I've heard it before type stuff. You're not standing out from anybody else, and that will stop people then try to close. And it's a big mistake because you need to hit those trigger points with the client before you close. So that's definitely a massive thing. And then the third thing's a really interesting one, which we talk about quite a lot.
We do, mate. Desperation for money. And these, I feel like all of these do tie in together because they all feed off each other.
Yeah.
But desperation, I think this is one of the worst ones.
Yeah, agreed.
Because as soon as they get any indication you're out for money, they'll even if you were, delivering the best presentation ever, if they think you're desperate for it, that immediately shows that you've not got a successful agency. It immediately shows that you really need that business to almost survive. And that's just not attractive for a business owner to partner with another business owner. It really isn't. And all problems will stem from that desperation.
Yeah. Also, what tends to happen when you're closing is when people get an IOI, which is an indicator of interest. So you are closing, or you're talking about the fee or the service or whatever, and you get a positive response to a degree from your future client. People jump on that really, really quickly and almost get too excited. And what happens is they're getting excited in a sense that they can see a fee coming to them per month, and they then go even harder. And it's kind of like you say, it's a desperation. You're putting dollar bill signs over the client care. That's a really, really big one. And unfortunately, for that third point, is that people are very, very unaware they're doing it, which is a really, if you know you're doing things, you can change it. But quite often, this is a hidden behavior that you're doing, and you don't realize it.
Yeah.
But desperation for money, and it is coming for you. You get too hard. You go too hard on it, and people can see through that. And the minute you start talking money or wanting to push on the fee a bit more, all you're saying is really you're disregarding the client's care and things like that.
Yeah. So what would you say in terms of actionable closing strategies of what to do and what not to do, of how to combat them? For example, for the desperation for money, if you're telling your price and then you're really trying to justify your price. So if you said, Harry, can we talk pricing? And I go, yeah, it's $1,500 a month. And the reason for that is because we've got this, and this, we've got this program, it actually really is quite good value for money when you look at it. When you compare it to this and this, an investment, the more rambling you do after you say your price, the immediate, that's just how you fuck that part up. Essentially, you need to say your price and shut up. But in terms of the other ones, how would you combat those in terms of actionable advice for people to do, essentially?
It's actually very, you have to, with everything this really goes into the presentation, because what we teach in our academy, or what I've taught in the past, is that you should be going into a meeting with the idea that this person is going to be a client, and start talking in that language and saying, which we won't go into now. That's that we have videos on our channel that talk about how we close, and we have an academy for those who are serious. But what I'm saying is, you can definitely talk to a person in such a sincere, honest, and congruent way where the end outcome is almost obvious. You don't really need to close. Like me and you don't ever ask for the business.
No.
We have never ever asked for the business. And I think there is a video out on our YouTube that says something like, we've never closed, Tom's never closed a client. And I genuinely haven't closed a client.
No, we've negotiated and pushed things in the correct direction, but we've never been I don't know, what would you class as like a close in SMMA?
A
Like
close, a
saying,
close, a close is someone who goes, "Would you like to do? Would you like to do it? Would you like to join us? Would you like to join my
yeah, we've
agency?
never said that. We've never said
Can
that.
can I send you an invoice and can you pay it? Like, how does it sound? You know, it's the worst thing ever. You go through a presentation and go, so how does it sound? Well, it sounds okay, or it sounds really great. It sounds all right. You know, it's a closed question. How does it sound? Bad, good. You can answer it with one answer. We don't ever do that. And the reason we don't ever do that is because it's not required. And the reason
Yeah,
why it's not required is because during the call, we are making lots of references to month 2 of the campaign, month 3 of the campaign. So that requires putting him or her in a position where they're thinking about working us 3 months in. We talk about when we start working together, when this campaign is going to be, when this campaign will kick in, when it's successful. Really, we get to a point at the end of the call where we don't even have to ask for the business, because we've given them so much information and wrapped their world up perfectly in a lovely package that they walk away from the call thinking, shit, I need to get on a call with Tom and Harry and get this deal done, because I don't want them to feel like they can't work with me.
yeah.
And when you do it, it's a real technique, and it's something we've obviously developed. I've been doing it, for a long, long time. But we don't actually have to close it. But that is an advanced stage. We teach it, of course, but that's an advanced stage. But I think for now, if you're in a presentation, you just really want to go through it very sincerely, very carefully, very calmly, ask lots of questions. And more often than not, you cannot close, in my personal view, and people can hold me to this on the channel if you want, but like, you can't close a client unless you have an element of trust or rapport with that client already. You just can't do it.
And that starts from the initial cold call. I don't think that starts
It
from the
does.
meeting. It's like people always people send me messages in terms of like, it going wrong in a meeting or whatever, and then I dig a bit deeper into their journey with that client, and the time from the cold call in between the meeting, they had like I don't know how to explain it. It was quite like a rocky relationship, if that makes sense. Like he was bombarding him with loads of text messages, bombarding him with loads of calls, and the client was like, the client actually sent him a message saying, are you going to continue to call me every hour of the day? And then this person wanted to get on a meeting with him, and I was like, that's got off that relationship off. So such a bad start.
Yeah, it has.
That ticked one of those boxes of how not to close, of desperation. And that wasn't him closing the meeting. That was showing those traits really early on that client's going to remember.
I think that's a big one. That's a really important point, actually, that Harry's just said. Is like, when you do have the meeting and you try to close, or they've given a really, really good indication they like what you've got to say, but they go, do you know what? Let's reconnect on Wednesday, or let's reconnect next week, because I'm going on vacation, and I've got my son is going for an operation, and blah blah. Whatever the reasons are, whether it's family, work, commitments. Those who then bombard that person with emails, texts, phone calls, have you what's the worst one I hate is, did you receive my presentation? Like,
yeah,
of course they did.
Yeah,
but you it shows you're desperate, and this is the bit where we're talking about desperation for money. The follow-up, if people are following up with really lousy follow-up lines, it really makes you look desperate. It really makes
mate,
you
the worst one's when people email me follow-ups to like their sales messages with Harry question mark.
Yeah,
it does my fucking head in, mate. It's like,
but I bet people do that with potential clients. Like, they would probably just email and saying, hi, are you still interested, question mark. It's like, it comes from a place of like, just give me your money, please, give me your money.
It's just like, are you still interested in paying me money? It's like, rather than going in with it at a new angle, being like, all right, like, hope you had an amazing holiday. I've just what you did with the ad creatives we said in the last video, put some really nice ad creatives. Like, I'd love to show you some nice ad creatives I've made for you, or just like some stuff like that that's going to be of genuine interest of them, rather than being like, are you interested in signing the invoice yet? Obviously not. I'm on holiday having a beer. Fuck off.
Even if change that, if people were to change that and just write, hi Sarah, just been thinking about your business, I'm really excited to work with you. When do you want to connect? Even that would be
better than
90% of people would never send that message.
No, because they'd just be like, Harry question mark.
Because I fucking haven't got the brains to do it. It's like, Sarah question mark, exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And and then you wonder why they've not signed with you, and it's like you're so desperate. But that's the desperation money part.
Someone sent me a meme the other day on my Instagram DM saying, "I hope you don't ignore all the girls in your DMs like this." Made me laugh, to be fair to him. However, that's like admitting that you're being ignored. Like, I don't know, it's like you're just accusing someone of ignoring you rather than just your message being shit, not
Yeah,
sparking any interest. And it's like,
yeah,
yeah, I am fucking ignoring you. It's embarrassing for you that you're now admitting that you're being ignored. It's like going over
yeah.
to a
That
girl and it's like going over to a girl in a club who's already rejected you 4 times and then saying, "So you're still ignoring me, are you?" Yes, you're a freak. Go
freak.
away.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
It's like,
Absolutely. I think that there's so many things you can take from it, but I think that's one of them is the desperation on even on follow up because that is elements of closing. You're still trying to close. It's just a delayed lag on it.
yeah.
Um,
It's
but
desperate.
that's something.
It's a desperate world out there, mate.
It really is. It is, and if you can separate yourself from that world, then you will have a much stronger chance of being successful. But I think that's
Yeah.
it. I think they're the worst mistakes we see when you close. And if you're looking at wanting answers on how we close and how the best way is to close, well, I can tell you this: you you have to go through our content and look at it. Like we have covered this topic so many times on our channel where we actually give you elements of what we say on calls to close clients. And me and you, Harry, close probably 80% of the people we speak to, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 80,
Say
maybe
so.
70 to
I'd,
80%.
yeah.
There's reasons for that. It's not just because Tom and Harry are really nice guys and we've given them a really cheap price and all stuff, because we haven't. You know, we go in at the value we are. We price ourselves at how valuable we see ourselves. We understand our strategy like the back of our hand. We know it with our eyes shut, and we know what we would do client to make them money and to improve their brand and to what they want to. We know what they need that they can stay with us for over a year, which we do. We have plenty of clients that have. And there's a particular way we talk to people in meetings, and I think you need to look at our content and go into it. And if you want to get even more serious about it, we obviously have an academy where I firsthand teach you on calls, live calls, and within the academy exactly, and I show you it firsthand with live cold calls, so it's not even a freak, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you've not watched our previous video, it actually links very heavily to this video, and it's about how and when to send proposals. So sending the proposal to a client, if you do it at the wrong time and in the wrong way, you immediately fuck up your chance of signing that client. So give that video a watch. It's super useful. Let us know what you think. Please, please, please make sure you subscribe, because we're back posting every single day on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. And we really appreciate the subscription. So hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.